Finishing up the World Under-20 Championships ended on Sunday in Nairobi. Jamaica was the only English-speaking Caribbean nation to secure a medal. The Jamaicans finished fifth on the table with 11 medals, 3 gold, 6 silver and 2 bronze. Hosts Kenya topped the table with 16 medals, 8 gold, 1 silver and 7 bronze, ahead of Finland, Nigeria and Ethiopia. Jamaica's gold medals came from Tina Clayton in the women's 100 metres, Akira Nugent in the 100-metre hurdles and
that is a world junior record if confirmed.
A terrific finish for Jamaica with 7 medals on the final day of the World Under-20 Championships. But the team was affected by COVID-19 positive results. 3 female athletes were forced to withdraw from their respective finals on Saturday and Sunday, and the Jamaica Athletics Administrative Association confirmed Monday that as many as 90 members tested positive for COVID-19. All the affected athletes are asymptomatic and in isolation. They will need to return negative test results before they can return home. While in the bulk of the contingent left Nairobi on Monday, some members of Jamaica's management and medical staff remained with the 9 COVID-affected athletes who are now projected to leave Kenya on September 2nd. Leighton Levy, senior writer at SportsMax.tv, joins us now. Leighton, a triumphant return to Kingston for the Jamaicans, blemished by these COVID-19 positives.
Maria, I'm not hearing you very clearly. Can you repeat that?
Leighton, we're talking about, of course, the situation that, the athletes who have tested positive for COVID-19, despite, paralleling it with the good results that the Jamaican athletes produced at the Under-20.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, when you look at the athletes who tested positive, well, we assume they tested positive. Jamaica could have added to their medal tally, given the athletes who were out. When you look at the fact that Anika Wilson missed out on the 100-meter hurdles final after qualifying for the finals, she's run 13.36 this season. Of course, when you consider that 13.45 was in second place, she was right within that wheelhouse. Of course, Gary White as well in the 400-meter hurdles, as well as I'm trying to remember who the third athlete was. I think it was McAnuff, who was missing from one of the finals, the 400-meter finals as well. So I think the COVID infections did impact on the medal. It certainly seemed that it impacted on the medal count, but certainly still an outstanding performance from the team. 3 gold, 6 silver, and 3 bronze medals. It's our second best ever medal haul.
Leighton, do you have any additional information regarding the COVID-19 situation and the Jamaican team?
No, not anything that beyond what you said. I mean, the fact is that the medical team is going to be staying there with the nine persons. We're not sure if it's all 9 athletes, and that they'll be coming home on September the 2nd, assuming that everybody clears their testing, the latest batch of tests that they would need to do before they are able to take a flight home. But based on what I'm hearing is basically what you mentioned at the top of the segment, that they will be there. They'll be monitored by the medical team and, of course, come home. What happens after they come home, of course, will be a different scenario. Will they then be further quarantined for another 2 weeks after they arrive? That's up to the authorities here to decide.
Definitely. And, of course, Jamaica, they ended the championship with a total of 11 medals, the only Caribbean country to actually medal at this level of the competition. What stood out the most for you?
Overall, I think generally the team performance in general. When you look at the fact that we broke that world record and the championship record, which stood from 2002, that team of Sharon Simpson, Karen Stewart, Anisha McLaughlin, and of course Simone Facey, those were 4 of our best junior athletes ever. I mean, notwithstanding the absence of Veronica Campbell-Brown, who had shortly before that matriculated to the senior ranks. But the fact that they ran 42.94, for me, obviously that would be the outstanding performance of the championships. Akira Nugent, we expected her to do well. I think she was perhaps a bit fortunate with Ditaji Kambunji crashing out of the hurdles, because I think she was one of the medal favorites. So everything played out for Akira Nugent to win in 12.95, which was not even one of her best times this season. Remember, she's run as fast as 12.72 this year, which was close to the under 20 world record for the 100-meter hurdles. And of course, the fact that Tina Clayton ran 11.09, you have to look at where this young lady is at 17, just turning 17. Outstanding performance, of course, and then the triple jump, everything on this team was a positive for Jamaica. And of course, the fact that Jamaica was the only Caribbean country to win medals at these championships just speaks to the quality of our junior programs, the grassroots programs here in Jamaica. Of course, that also was impacted by the absence of teams like the United States and England that withdrew from the championships as well.
Yeah, and Leighton, there's been a lot of concern in the Jamaican track and field fraternity about the men being left behind and the women, really carrying the flag, so to speak. And certainly what we've seen from Nairobi suggests that the women still have a lot more shots to fire because all of the gold medals came from the girls.
Yeah, and look, and it's something that I think we've constantly been disillusioned by, the idea that our men are superior to our women in terms of performances. Before the Olympics, I think I'd mentioned on the show, I'm trying to remember where I mentioned it, it was perhaps during the Olympics, where when you look at the history of Jamaica's track and field, Jamaica's men won medals from 48 on right up until 1980 when Merle Naughty became the first woman to win a medal at the Olympic Games. But since that time, the women have almost outstripped the men 2-1 in terms of medals. Had it not been for the aberration of the Usain Bolt era, the men averaged roughly about 2 medals per major championships. And we've seen it across the board, right across the board, except for odd years. It's the same among the juniors. Veronica Campbell-Brown is by far Jamaica's most outstanding junior athlete. Notwithstanding the exploits of others who have come along the way in terms of the men's side of things. But our girls and our women have always been more outstanding. It's just that because we're more patriarchal in terms of how we view things, we seem to think that the men are better, but they're not. The numbers speak to the fact that our women are generally better than our men. So I don't think there's anything different about what our men, whether they're junior athletes or senior athletes, are doing. It's right in line with what has been happening historically for Jamaica. Yeah.
All right, but Leighton, as usual, always great talking to you on the SportsMax Zone, and we'll continue this discussion on because I think there has to be a discussion as well. Second World Juniors in a row that the English-speaking Caribbean had no medals outside of Jamaica's medals. The same thing happened in Finland, where Jamaica were the only CARICOM nation winning medals. So maybe we need to talk to some of our neighbours about what's going wrong with their program and try to resuscitate it, because the English-speaking Caribbean outside of Jamaica has won many, many medals in the past at the World Under-20 Championship, but in Finland and now in Nairobi, none. So we'll be in touch, Leighton.
Yeah, I think they need to take things a little bit more seriously.
Yes.
And have proper plans in place. But we'll talk about that at another time.
Yeah, Leighton Lever there, senior writer at SportsMax.tv. Now, still to come on the SportsMax Zone, the West Indies on the back foot in the second test against Pakistan at Sabina Park. We discussed that in the final half an hour of the show. But coming up next, Obed McCoy, one of the fast bowlers to watch at the upcoming CPL T20 tournament.